Over 2 dozen upstate stake, rendering consequences for the team.
And further updates on the 2020 U.S. presidential election.
WTOP 10 Nightly News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News. I'm Stephanie Stoiko.
And I'm Melanie Higgins.
A Western New York postal worker from Erie County has been arrested on counts of delaying or destroying mail when he was found trying to cross the border from Buffalo to Canada.
Brandon Wilson attempted to whittle down to the mail in his truck by placing envelopes into the missort containers this morning before his shift. After a routine sweep with Customs and Border Protection, over 100 political mailings, included some absentee ballots, were discovered.
Governor Cuomo announced today the construction of the East Operating Dock in the Port Authority of Oswego is set to begin. The new construction is a key milestone in the city's economic development initiative to help improve business along the Lake Ontario shoreline. Cuomo says these projects will enhance public safety, protect public health, and conserve the environment of affected shoreline communities for decades to come.
Following the resignation of SUNY's Environmental Science and Forestry President, Quentin Wheeler, the SUNY Board of Trustees has chosen its newest pick for Dean of Students. Former County Executive Joni Mahoney, who joined the university staff in 2018 as Chief Operating Officer of the leadership team, will be inducted effective immediately, along with Dr. Mantosh Dewan, the new president of Upstate Medical Center.
SUNY Oswego announces the opening of Oz spots across campus. But what exactly is an Oz spot, and how can students stay safe in them? Scott Brubaker has more.
With the spread of the coronavirus now under control on campus, SUNY Oswego has opened up 16 Oz spots for students to use for their convenience. SUNY Oswego's Chief Communication Officer, Wayne Westervelt, describes the purpose of Oz spots.
As we move from the nice weather at the beginning of the semester, although it's beautiful today, to the end of fall weather, our desire was to create something that we had created with the outdoor tents indoors for our students.
The Oz spots were created so students could study, eat, or meet with their peers in a safe and clean environment. There are curtains sectioning off the Oz spots from the rest of the building, and desks and tables are socially distanced. However, these spaces are not to be used by student organizations to hold meetings.
You know, we wanted to really make sure this was not seen as an opportunity to socially gather. I mean, we were really trying to open up opportunities for our students because they've done so well.
There are many COVID preventative measures put in place at these Oz spots, including a limit to 6 kids at a time, a 90-minute time period, sanitizer to be used before and after, and the requirement of masks.
Westervelt hopes these spots will be up and running for the rest of the semester and even into the spring. The availability of these spots all depends on local and state health guidelines and the state of COVID cases on campus.
So a lot of the credit for even just having Oz spots is the result of the hard work our students have exhibited over the entire semester.
Scott Brubaker, WTOP, reporting.
Once again, Westervelt gave numerous thank yous to the students for their efforts in slowing the spread of COVID on campus and encouraged them to continue following the guidelines through the end of the semester. The Oz spots are open Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Fridays from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Reservations can be made by scanning the QR codes located outside each space.
Scott, following Halloween weekend, 36 Upstate Medical staff members are in a 14-day quarantine. This comes after a coworker tested positive just days after gathering between them. SUNY Chancellor Jim Malatra says it's deeply disappointing to see general public doing the right thing while the people protecting them cannot do the same, and that these actions will not go unnoticed.
The coronavirus postponed many traditional events for people all over the world. The victim of the virus this time around is the annual tree lighting ceremony in Syracuse. The beloved event will be held virtually this year due to the pandemic. Various entertainers will make an appearance, such as AJR, Shade, and even the Syracuse Ballet, among many others. The ceremony kicks off November 27th at 6 p.m. through the city's YouTube channel, City of Syracuse.
As the country continues to ensure that all ballots are accounted for, Americans abroad await the election results. Our foreign correspondent, Tomas Rodriguez, has more.
As tensions continue to escalate in the United States, a similar feeling can be sensed overseas as voters abroad face challenges when casting their vote.
The biggest challenge was it took a very long time to confirm that they had received the ballot. In fact, I just received notice last week and I had mailed it on the 29th of September.
But others were not as lucky.
You know, when I was making calls, you know, there was one particularly poignant conversation with a woman in Nigeria who was voting in a state that requires a postal ballot, and they were on lockdown and not allowed to leave the house. So there was literally no way for her to mail a ballot.
And for some, it took more than one attempt and a leap of faith.
So I was able to register to vote from New York, and I got my absentee ballot 2 days before I left. So I was really cutting it close, but I requested it about 3 times before I got it, and that's never happened to me before.
Now, Americans abroad await the final results. In Madrid, Spain, Tomas Rodriguez, WTOP 10 Nightly News.
International, along with military ballots, will reach the United States by November 10th, which will prompt the entire absentee ballot count.
With the presidential race still underway, let's take a quick look at some of the numbers involved. Biden still is in the lead with 264 electoral votes, approaches the 270 threshold as Trump sits at 214 votes. Although we may not have a definite answer on the winner of the presidential election, swing states Georgia and Pennsylvania say we could see a decision as soon as tonight.
A tropical storm rages in Central America.
And another state becomes the 15th to legalize recreational marijuana. But first, let's take a quick look at the weather with Storm Team 10 meteorologist Jessica Metzner.
Thanks, guys. And as you can see, we have been blessed with a beautiful night, clear skies and very little winds. We can see right here the temperatures are in the mid-60s, which is very warm for this time of year. I will talk more about what the rest of the week will be like later on in my full weather, and as we can see, we have light winds to complement the night, with very little rain for the past few days. I will talk more about that later on as well. And a snapshot of Tropical Depression Eta in Central America right now. I will map out exactly where this tropical storm will be heading and how strong it will be later on in my full weather after the break. Good evening, everybody. My name is meteorologist Jessica Metzner, and right now we have clear skies, a pleasant night, and temperatures in the mid-60s. This is very warm for this time of year. We have winds coming from the south at 5 to 10 miles per hour, very calm. And our liquid equivalent, which is basically how much rain we have gotten, is very low. It's quite dry. We haven't had much rain in the past few days. And we have a snapshot of Tropical Depression Eta. We can see that is in Central America right now, moving at 8 miles per hour to the northwest. And its maximum wind speeds are 35 miles per hour. For the next 5 days, we can see that the winds are starting to weaken even more. I would believe that this is the tail end of Tropical Depression Eta. The maximum winds are expected to be around 30 miles per hour as it heads towards Cuba and the coast of Florida. Now, back to New York, we can see we have a temperature line of the temperatures for the past 24 hours. And as you can see, it went from 40 degrees all the way up to the high 60s just in the past day. This spike in temperature is very unseasonal for this time of year, but who am I to complain about some warmer temperatures? I like an encore of summer. And for the next day, we can see that temperatures are going to continue to stay warm, from the lows of about 52 degrees and a high of about 65 degrees for tomorrow. And Saturday is no different. We can see that the low is once again in the low 50s, and the high for Saturday is expected to be around 67 degrees. So get ready for some fun in the sun and some short sleeve weather. For precipitation-wise, we do not have to worry. We are expected to see stride for the next 3 days, which is a dry spell, but we'll have plenty of sunshine. And as a recap of tonight, clear skies are expected and calm winds from the south. And for tomorrow, mostly sunny and winds from the southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. For the rest of the week, it's looking very pleasant. Saturday is going to be the warmest day of the week. And as we go on into Monday and Tuesday, things are going to cool down. Tuesday is going to bring back that warmth, but Wednesday we may have a chance for showers, with Thursday temperatures dropping off drastically and getting cold. You're watching WTOP 10 Nightly News. Coming up next, after break, we have more news and sports.
Welcome back to WTOP 10 Nightly News. The 2020 hurricane season continues to be relentless as the 28th storm of the season. Eta lashes Central America with torrential rains and whipping winds. According to the U.S. National Hurricane Center, Eta is expected to head into the Caribbean Friday, Cuba on Sunday, and possibly South Florida on Monday. If Eta makes landfall along the U.S. coastline, it would break the record for the most named storms in season.
A Missouri poll worker who knowingly tested positive for the coronavirus dies just 2 days after the election. Despite his positive test, the unidentified worker continued to work the polls during the election, ignoring his advisory to self-isolate for 2 weeks. Multiple precautions were in place for voters and workers alike at the time, such as the wearing of facial coverings and remaining socially distant.
The United States reports more than 102,000 new COVID-19 cases were confirmed Wednesday. That's the first time that the U.S. has reached 6 figures, and it's the highest amount of cases the U.S. has seen in a single day since the virus broke out.
Despite President Donald Trump's repeated claim that the coronavirus would one day disappear, it hasn't yet.
Make no mistake, this pandemic isn't over, not by a long shot. And it's not enough for us to just know more. We have to act differently.
A report from the White House Coronavirus Task Force is warning states that there is a continued increase in cases, hospitalizations, and fatalities nationally, spreading southward from the coldest climates as the population moves indoors and cases increase exponentially.
This is an absolute killer, and we have got to stay on our toes. We've got to wear a mask. I mean, how big a deal is this when it really, really gets right down to it?
North Dakota has the highest number of cases per capita in the U.S., but most states are seeing an increase in cases, including Kansas.
Wichita has 2 major hospitals, Ascension Via Christi and Wesley Medical Center, have 0 ICU beds available.
And Illinois.
Compared to just last week, every single one of our 11 regions has seen an increase in the average number of people going into the hospital every day with COVID-19.
But some health experts say it's too late to develop a national testing strategy. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Dr. Robert Redfield, the head of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, tweeted Wednesday that now is the time to develop a testing strategy to maximize our ability to identify with the silent epidemic of asymptomatic COVID-19 infections.
With about 2 weeks remaining to register with the IRS, time is running short in order to receive federal relief COVID-19 stimulus checks. According to the tax agency, many college students and low-income adults may be among those who qualify for the money but have not yet received a check. The IRS plans on contacting people who may be eligible on November 10th. The deadline to register is November 21st.
Montana, Arizona, New Jersey, and South Dakota are all voting to put measures in place for the legalization of marijuana. Initially, Montana voted to make 21 the legal age of the consumption, purchase, possession, and marijuana. Arizona and New Jersey are voting to legalize recreational use of marijuana, and South Dakota will be named the first state to simultaneously legalize the recreational and medicinal use of marijuana.
Oregon has become the first state to legalize the active ingredient in magic mushrooms. Supporters point to the medical benefits of the drug, which studies have shown benefit trauma survivors. If the measure passes and becomes law, Oregon will also decriminalize the possession of small amounts of some hard drugs, including heroin and LSD. Oregon's not alone in this psychedelic renaissance. District of Columbia residents also voted to decriminalize the use of magic mushrooms.
November is National Diabetes Awareness Month. This year, the American Diabetes Association's theme is We Stand Greater Than. Mandy Gaither brings us some important information on the disease growing in America. For more information, go to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention website at cdc.gov.
To sports with Aaron Valentino.
So, Aaron, what's going on?
Thanks, guys. When we come back, I'll have the latest on Jets quarterback Sam Darnold. Plus, what are the Syracuse Orange and the Buffalo Bills looking at this weekend? More SUNYAC athletes are making their voices heard. All that and more coming up after the break. You're watching WTOP 10 Nightly News. Welcome back to WTOP 10 Nightly News. I'm Aaron Valentino with your sports update. With SUNYAC sports still being canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic, athletes all over the conference continue to try and make their voices heard throughout the state of New York. On Tuesday, Ethan Homitz of Cortland Men's Ice Hockey released a 2-minute video on Twitter, which featured multiple hockey players from different teams around the conference, all saying the same thing: let us play. The video has over 3,000 views on Twitter, and that number continues to rise. The SUNYAC is yet to comment on the video or any of the other actions taken by the players to try and let them play. The Syracuse Orange continue to look for their second win of the season, as this weekend they will take on the Boston College Golden Eagles. The Eagles will come into this one very frustrated with their last loss against Clemson. In that game, they were up 28-10, but then Clemson came roaring back to score 24 unanswered points, giving them the victory. Kickoff for this one is at 2 o'clock at the Dome. New York Jets quarterback Sam Darnold is on track to start on Monday night against the New England Patriots. Darnold had an MRI on his shoulder yesterday to check it out, but head coach Adam Gase said today he should be good for the start this week. Darnold did have a shoulder injury earlier in the season, which took him out 2 weeks, so that's definitely something to keep an eye on for this Sunday. And lastly, the Buffalo Bills sit atop the AFC East at 6-2, but have a couple of tough games coming up in the coming weeks ahead. And it all starts this Sunday at 1 o'clock against Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. The Bills are coming off a close win to the Patriots, in which they won 24-21. Josh Allen will look to continue his MVP-type ways against a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. And earlier this week, WTOP 10 reporter Ben Diamond caught up with some of the Oswego State men's soccer team and how they are dealing with no season.
Like every sport this year, Oswego State's men's soccer has been put on hold for the time being. It is a devastating players like senior goaltender Brian Terra, who misses the game as much as anyone.
Obviously, just love for the game, and who knows what happens in the future, but just being around family and that group of guys and being well connected and just having that team chemistry, that team morale. And
head coach Dan Kane feels the exact same way. He wants to be able to get out there with his players and prepare for the upcoming spring.
So just being on the field would be a tremendous relief. We hope we get the opportunity, and if we get that opportunity, we'll certainly make the most of it.
Kane knows he needs to keep his players in shape. Even with sports being shut down in the fall, he needs to make sure they are ready for whenever they start up again. He is also confident his team can keep up the chemistry even after a long hiatus.
I think if we are able to have that season in the spring, obviously be physically prepared as much as possible, but also understand that there's going to be a learning curve of who's the most prepared, but then who can make the most adjustments and growth once we're allowed to start playing too.
Men's soccer took a big step forward the last fall season, and they are hoping to duplicate and even go a step further whenever they can play again. Ben Diamond reporting for WTOP 10 Sports.
It's very unfortunate we won't be able to see the Lakers soccer team this season, and we hope to see all of our SUNYAC athletes back on the field very soon.
Thanks for that, Aaron. Now let's get a quick final check of the weather with Storm Team 10 meteorologist Jessica Metzner.
Right, we have quite the week right ahead of us with plenty of sunshine and warm temperatures. But the rest of the week, we can see that things are starting to cloud up and cool down once we get to Wednesday with a chance of showers. And by Thursday, we're back to where we are supposed to be. Normal temperatures in the 50s. It's going to be colder and cloudy like a normal Oswego day.
Thank you for tuning in to WTOP 10 Nightly News.
Have a good night and stay safe.